Hi there, Sierra owners. Today on your 2021 GMC Sierra 2500, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install TorkLift's rear camper tie-downs. And this is what our camper tie-downs look like when they're installed. That's right, you can't see them at all because TorkLift's custom mounts are hidden behind the outer shell of the vehicle here and on the frame. And there are attachments that will slide in place, so that way when you're not using your camper on the back of your truck, you can have a nice factory clean look and nobody is the wiser. When you're ready to use it, you can see here it is tucked up underneath, kind of behind the back bumper and rear quarter panel here. The opening here is at an angle, so that way it does stay hidden, tucked up nice. Our arms will slide in easily right into the mounting points. You'll have two different holes, so you can choose the appropriate distance that it needs to stick out for the particular camper you've got on your truck. We'll use the included pins to secure them. And now we've got our attachment point here on the side of our truck. And what's cool is that it really doesn't take up a whole lot of space here. It doesn't stick out that far. We are in the closer hole. But it's also not a real large unit out here. So even when it is installed, to me it really doesn't detract from the looks of the vehicle that much because it's so small and just right here. And what this is going to do for us is provide us with a secure attachment point for our camper. You will need a set of turnbuckles, which you can get here at eTrailer. We've got various different styles available, whether you're wanting an economical set to just get you out there on the road with your camper, or if you want a nicer set that's going to be easier to take them on and off a lot faster and get the proper adjustment without having to spend more time than you need to with it. These tie-downs are custom fit for your truck, which makes them install a lot easier. And the engineers over at TorkLift also ensured that our brackets are going to be in the most optimal position, so that way we're going to get good clamping that's going to distribute the weight of our camper over our axle. That's going to help improve our handling performance over some of the competitors or other types of tie-downs that really don't distribute it that weight. You'll also receive another tie-down for the other side of the vehicle, so that way you've got a complete rear set here. If you need a set for the front, you can get that here at eTrailer as well. And we also sell these as a kit, so if you don't have any tie-downs on your truck, you can pick up the whole set for front and rear. And they're all going to be coated in a textured black powder coat finish to protect against rust and corrosion, so you'll have a long-lasting operation for your tie-downs that are also going to look good and match your truck for many years to come. We'll begin our installation underneath the vehicle. I did lower down the spare tire. That's going to give us the extra room we need to get our hardware fed in and be able to access what we need here. When you remove your spare tire, there's a tether that attaches your tire to it and it attaches to this link here. We'll need to remove this and take it out of the way. This is blocking one of the attachment points for our camper tie-down. We remove that bolt with a 10mm socket. Once we've got our bracket out of the way, we can go ahead and remove the clip as well. We're not going to be reinstalling this bracket. Our camper tie-down is going to go in this location, so this way it'll install flush against this part of the frame here. Next, we're going to need to fish wire in some hardware. We're going to be fish wiring in the hardware into this bottom hole first, and then the hole here on the back side second. We'll take our coiled end, we're going to poke it up through the bottom hole, push it until it comes out the large hole here at the back. And here's where we'll take our star washer, slide it over the coiled end, and our bolt. We'll thread it onto the coiled end, and then we can just drop those back in there and pull your hardware until it comes back through. Sometimes you gotta fish it around a little bit until you can get it to line up. There we go. We can then remove our fish wire and perform the same procedure on the hole located right there. Okay. And then this bolt here, once you pull it through, we're actually going to just slide it right back in the frame there so it hangs out right there. Next, we'll take our coiled end. We're going to go up through the large hole and then come out the large opening here at the top. We're then going to slide the large spacer block onto the coiled end. We'll follow that up with a star washer, and then we'll thread our bolt onto the coiled end. And now we got all of our components fed onto the fish wire. We're going to want to feed these in one at a time. So so that way they will slide down into position. Once you've got them in here, then we just need to pull on our fish wire until it pulls our bolt back through. We'll now take our bracket and we're going to put it in place. These are going to be side-specific brackets. So we've got our driver's side here, and we know it's the driver's side because the tube's towards the rear of the vehicle, while our bracket is towards the front. You'll need to fish wire your hardware through, lining it up with the corresponding holes. Some of the bolts, again, you might have to push those back in temporarily to get the bracket up. This one up here is slotted, so that top one we don't typically need to push back in. And we'll just lift it up, being careful to line up all the holes and not to push any of the hardware back into the frame that doesn't have a pull wire on it. What I like to do after I get the bottom one through, since this one doesn't have a pull wire, temporarily I'll just put a nut on it. That way it can't pull through, and it also supports the weight of the bracket. It's not an overly heavy bracket. When you're trying to pull through fish wires, it can be kind of annoying. So now that we've got that set up, we need to get these pull wires pulled through, and it's usually easier to get the top one first if you can. Sometimes you'll need a screwdriver to feed it until it comes up into position. So you can see you just kind of pop it up like that. Get both of these pulled through, and then we can start putting our hardware on to secure it in place. So I'm going to remove the fish wires. If you haven't done the other side, you want to make sure you thread those off because you're going to need to reuse them for the other side. I'm pushing the bolt down as well. This is putting a little side pressure on it. We'll keep it from falling back into the frame. We'll slide on a flat washer, followed by a lock washer, and finally a nut. And this is the same hardware all three of these bolts are going to get. So that lower one, we will have to put the washers on there. It was just a temporary bolt to hold the bracket up, just making things a little easier on us. Now that we've got them all attached, we can go back with a 19mm socket and tighten them all down. We can then go back and torque our hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. Now that we've got this side fully torqued down, we can perform the exact same procedures over on the other side to get that one installed. The only difference between this side and that side is that the bracket we had removed on the driver's side here is not going to be present over there. The bracket is not going to be reinstalled because the small hole located right here will allow us to attach the safety cable that goes to the spare tire. Once you've got both installed on each side, you can reinstall your spare tire, and then you're ready to put your ends in and hook up your camper. Once they're installed, we can take our arms and put them in. The arms aren't going to be side specifics. They both are identical. You'll see here that there's two holes in the arm. We only have a single hole in our bracket. That lets you pick between two different distances, so you can have your tie down stick out further if you need to for the particular camper that you're holding on to the back of your truck. And you've got the one that's closer, which is the more preferred one because it's going to be a cleaner look. It's closer to the vehicle, less chance of your leg hitting it. But it really just depends on your camper what's going to be the best position. Once we get those lined up, we'll secure it with the included pin. Bring the other end over to lock that in place. And then on the end of our tie down, we'll receive some stickers. In our kit, we're going to label these as rear because the front and the rear arms are different in most cases, so it is good to label them so you don't accidentally mix them up if you do take your camper on and off regularly. So we're just going to put this in place on here, and then we'll go do the same thing over on the other side. And that completes our installation of TorkLift's rear camper tie downs on our 2021 GMC Sierra 2500.